Welcome, everybody. Thank you again for joining me. Today is our last episode, and I just want to say a huge thank you for everybody who's come to or this is their first to learn about everything South. We've certainly learned a lot in the last 10 months, and the great thing is, well, we are ending, at least in Australia, with travel on our doorstep and ready to go. And in New Zealand, it's coming soon. So yeah, that's a great news for everybody. So we have done so much over the last 10 months, and we have learned about every single state except Missouri, which is the star of our show today. We started in Mississippi to learn about Southern cuisine from Chef Robert St. John. Then we went out and visited some of the national parks and seashores and heard about North Carolina's Leave No Trace. Then we saw a concert in Tennessee and learned about the music that grew from the South and these famous cities such as Nashville and Memphis and Bristol. We ate barbecue with pitmasters in South Carolina and learned about the civil rights movement, especially in Birmingham, Alabama. And we explored the 19 different highways and byways of Louisiana and checked out adventures in West Virginia. And looked at the Kentucky Derby that happens in Louisville in Kentucky, and also looked at the Ozarks in Arkansas. Although they share that border of Missouri, that Missouri is our star today. And as you all know, my name is Penny Brandt, and I am the Travel South contact. And as I mentioned today, the last episode, we'll be focusing on Missouri and looking at the Southern celebrations in the South. But I just wanted to fill you all in a little bit about my trip and also to find out how easy it was to get into the US. So yes, incredibly lucky me, I was lucky enough to go to New Orleans for 5 days at the start of the month. And one thing I was really stoked about was how easy it actually was, so long as your clients are prepared. So I thought I'd give you a really quick rundown on what is required when we head to the States. So obviously the first thing is the proof of vaccination prior to boarding. Accepted vaccines are all of those ones that we have here in Australia and New Zealand. And individuals are considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after that last dose. So just make sure you factor that in with the certificate. Children under the age of 18 are exempt from the vaccination requirements, as well as some other limited exceptions that do apply. For the Australians, you can download your international COVID vaccination certificate from the Medicare app. It just gets you to put in your passport details. And then New Zealanders, I've heard that yours is coming really soon. I would recommend printing up a couple of copies to bring with you just so it makes it easier. And there's nothing worse than having your phone have a moment when it dies on you or anything like that. So just print them up. We also do require testing and results certificates. Now, these are for private pathology clinics only because free testing doesn't give you the paperwork you need. The cost is roughly around 120 to 180 per test. And if you're also recently recovered from COVID, what you do need instead is a certificate of recovery from your doctor, as well as proof that you had it. So that will then counteract that requirement to get that negative CPR test. And don't forget your masks. Masks are obviously mandatory in all of Australian airports and flights, as well as the US airports and flights there. Now, I will mention travel insurance because we know that's been on and off. It's obviously really important, like never before. Unfortunately, All of them won't cover you for everything, but it's a really great way to make sure your clients do have it, and they will cover the main risks, which is, getting stuck there, and also medical and cancellation expenses. The major companies I've found, a couple more, Southern Cross, Go Insurance, Allianz, and NIB. But as you all know, things change so quickly that it's really worth double checking. Now, don't forget, ESTA visas are still the main requirement for the majority of travellers from Australia and New Zealand. They cost $40 USD, and it's recommended you apply 72 hours before your flight. Saying that, I did receive my visa within 2 hours, but please ensure that you go to the government website, link above, as there's many companies charging for additional fees for this purposes. And I did want to mention that Darren has just said that CPR testing has gone down quite dramatically since I left. So it's now, you can get it for $79 at a lot of the airports and takes about 90 minutes. So thanks for that, Darren. You blink and things change. So the updates are really, really good to hear. And the other thing that you will need for the Australians is to download the Australian Travel Declaration app before you go. It does need you to verify it a few times, so I recommend you do that before you leave the country. And then no more than 72 hours prior to departing, but no earlier than 7 days, you have to make that travel declaration. Then when you get home, it's to Australia, and I'm sure New Zealand will be kind of similar when it happens. It's a test on day 1 and a test on day 6 with 72 hours quarantine. Yeah, so that's for now, but we never know what will happen. So just a quick recap: proof of vaccination, negative CPR test is now within that day, insurance for COVID protection, mask for flight, ESTA or your irrelevant visa, and then the Australian Travel Declaration. I must tell everybody as well, I have never seen LA so rapid, so quick, at least on the international side. I was there and we sort of got through in around 15 minutes. So there are benefits because we all remember what those lines can be like. All right, so super easy for everybody to get to the US. And today we are going to be going through the South and celebrating all the official holidays of the USA. So let's start off with celebrating the holidays, the Christmas holidays in the Hot Springs, a city in the Ouachita Mountains of Arkansas. It's known for its naturally heated springs, many of them in the Hot Springs National Park, just north of the town. And the Hot Springs National Parks are actually the oldest within the national park system in the USA. And it's a great winter destination because it has hot springs. The springs are the reason this land was first set aside for protection, and the thermal water can be found in everything from the spa treatments on Bathhouse Row to the craft beer at the Superior Bathhouse Brewery, the first brewery located inside a national park. So definitely worth a stop when you're there in Arkansas. Next, it should be no surprise that New Orleans does New Year's Eve really well. Both the city and the holiday love a celebration, but many visitors may not expect how possible it is to have intimate New Year's Eve in New Orleans, as well as a big celebration, whether or not it's cruising on the Mississippi or out there exploring the French Quarter. One of the big activities in New Orleans is their version of the Times Square ball drop. Although the ball has been changed to a fleur-de-lis, it's in Jackson Square in the historic French Quarter. Admission is free, although you'll want to shop early to grab a good spot. The end of year countdown accumulates in the fleur-de-lis drop, followed by fireworks over the stunning and humongous Mississippi River. So celebrating good old New Year's Eve in New Orleans is definitely one of those things everybody should try and experience. And next up on the calendar is Martin Luther King Day. Now, that is celebrated this year, or on the year coming, on the 17th of January, and it's usually the third Monday in January. Martin Luther King Day celebrates the life and achievements of Martin Luther King and the influential civil rights movement that happened. He was best known for his campaigns to end racial segregation on public transport and for racial equality in the USA. And we are going to celebrate it in Biloxi, Mississippi. And for decades, the city has held concerts, parades, and parties for the civil rights leader. And they've even inscribed his names on streets and buildings. But actually for years, there was a little known ordinance deemed the third Monday in January, not a holiday for King, but the Vega Great American Day. But Ronald Reagan claimed the Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday become a federal holiday in 1983, 15 years after the civil rights leader's assassination. So Biloxi on the Gulf of Mexico, there with the lighthouse next to Biloxi Beach, is worth a stop when you're heading down there through the south on your way to Alabama. And in our Alabama, we are going to celebrate President's Day. And that is on the 15th of February in 2022. And at the time set aside to honour those that led the USA over the centuries. The city has a rich history and one that Alabama has put its own stamp on because it celebrates it as the day officially listed as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson's birthday. Birmingham is a city in the north that has great celebrations at the time, and it's in the Jefferson County region. So it's one of the most populous in the county and famous for its civil rights movements and trails as well. And then we are off to Tennessee to celebrate Memorial Day. And it's a federal holiday in the United States for mourning the US military personnel who've served in the United States Armed Forces. It's observed in the last Monday of May, and it has been observed all the way from 1868. In Tennessee, we are going to visit the Shiloh National Cemetery and its long-standing traditions. It was established in 1894, and locals and veterans have met each year at the cemetery to remember and memorialise all the wars and all the servicemen who've lost their lives. The event goes as far back as 1890s to commemorate the sites of the most epic struggles in the Civil War, where nearly 110,000 American troops clashed in a bloody contest that resulted in about 24,000 casualties, more casualties than all of the America's previous wars combined. So exploring Shiloh and the Corinth battlefields are worth a visit to discover the impact these struggles had and some of the impact of the Civil War down there in the South. Next off, we are on to South Carolina to celebrate Independence Day. Also known as the 4th of July, it's the federal holiday commemorating the Declaration of Independence, signed in 1776. It was where the Congress declared that the American colonies were no longer subject to the monarch of Britain, King George III, and they were now free, united and independent state. So whether you make your way to Charleston, Myrtle Beach or Greenville, you'll find a one-of-a-kind celebration in some of the coolest spots in South Carolina. And we are going to visit a Broadway in Myrtle Beach, where they have celebration that's set to patriotic music and a huge fireworks extravaganza. Myrtle Beach is a city and vacation resort on the Atlantic coast and is hub of the Grand Strand, a 60-mile string of beaches known for its golf courses, boardwalks, and good old-fashioned arcades. It's also got one of the largest Ferris wheels in the country to enjoy the fireworks from. And from there, we are on to North Carolina and Labor Day. And Labor Day is celebrated on the first Monday in September. That's the first in 2022. And it pays tribute to the contributions and achievements of American workers. It was created by the labor movement in the late 19th century and became a federal holiday in 1894. So first stop is in Asheville in the Blue Ridge Mountains to explore the 100-odd waterfalls in this arty and funky town. And then we are going to go and hit the Outer Banks, frequently abbreviated to OBX. It's a 320-kilometre string of barrier islands off the coast of North Carolina. It's a great tourist destination and known for their wide expanse, open beachfront, and the Cape Hatteras National Seashore, where the ecosystems are really important for the biodiversity, including beach grasslands and shrubs. So that's an awesome way to celebrate a long weekend there in September. And now we're going to head to West Virginia for Veterans Day. And it's a federal holiday in the United States, observed annually like we do on November 11th. And that is for honoring military veterans. Now, West Virginia has historically served the West Virginians have served a lot in the military at really high rates. So Veterans Day is one that means a lot to the state. And Charlestown, which sits there on the Elk and Kanawha rivers, is West Virginia's capital city. And it's a riverside complex that has a wonderful veterans parade to honour the military. Something worth sitting there with its gold-topped dome as the city straddles the river right there. And we are on to Kentucky, and probably the South and mainly the USA's biggest celebration. Thanksgiving is celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November, and it began as a day of thanksgiving, thanks for the blessings of the harvests, and is generally believed to be modelled on the 1621 harvest feast shared by the English pilgrims. And it's that family dinner with turkey, stuffing, vegetables, and of course the iconic pumpkin pie as dessert. But one of the things that I think would be worth exploring on Thanksgiving is to check out that can-do spirit and look at some of the fabulous bourbon trails that are there. And as we all know, Kentucky is very famous for its bourbon and its horses, so certainly lots to go out and explore along the way there. And now we are on to the star of our show, everybody, Missouri. It's home of their Gateway Arch. It's got the famous Route 66 crossing the state from Joplin all the way to Springfield and then to St. Louis. And so now I would like to welcome Stephen from Missouri Tourism to talk and tell us about everything that is in Missouri for that Christmas celebrations.
When visitors come to Missouri, they often find more than they ever imagined. Hi, I'm Stephen Faust, Director of the Missouri Division of Tourism, and I'm excited to share the Show Me State with you today. Missouri has stunning natural beauty that can be experienced at 92 state parks and historic sites and dozens of conservation areas. With more than 1 million acres of public land and well over 1,000 miles of hiking trails, there's plenty of room to roam. History comes alive at locations across Missouri, including the boyhood home of Walt Disney, the birthplace of Mark Twain, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, along Route 66, here at the Governor's Mansion in Jefferson City, and of course at the iconic Gateway Arch. St. Louis and Kansas City are lively urban centers with fine dining and shopping, art museums, theaters, and exciting nightlife. You'll also find the best barbecue in the country right here in Missouri. Missouri is an amazing place to visit all year long, but we really shine during the holiday season. Let's take a look at how we celebrate the holidays here in Missouri.
Hi, I'm Kitty Ratcliffe, president of Explore St. Louis, and I'm here at the world-renowned Missouri Botanical Garden, which, as you can see behind me, is pretty spectacular. Actually, it's spectacular any time of the year, but during the holidays, they do this event called Garden Glow, which is throughout the park. You're just seeing a little bit of it behind me, but it's an amazing event that they do every single year, and it is one of just many events that we have throughout the St. Louis region that we do to celebrate the holidays. And we do this for ourselves, and we do it for the visitors to our community, which I hope you'll be one someday soon. Included in that is our Wildlife Zoo Night, which is at the St. Louis Zoo. The Anheuser-Busch Brewery has a spectacular light tour. Six Flags has Holiday Inn in the park. Union Station has the Polar Express, and there are so many more events. So I invite you to come to St. Louis at your earliest convenience, any time of year, but particularly during the holidays. And I'd love to spend more time with you now, but right now, I'm gonna go follow the glow.
The Missouri Botanical Garden sparkles with more than 1 million lights during Garden Glow. Indulge in s'mores, hot chocolate, and holiday-themed drinks. Special events include traditional Hanukkah and Kwanzaa celebrations. The St. Louis Zoo shines bright during wild lights. Stroll through the grounds decorated with 1 million lights and whimsical animal-themed displays. Costumed characters and carolers spread holiday cheer throughout the award-winning zoo. Thousands of lights magically transform Six Flags St. Louis into a colorful destination. Holiday in the Park includes festive shows, a petting zoo, and plenty of sweet treats. In downtown St. Louis, experience an ice skating rink like no other, bathed in the glow of the Gateway Arch. The Winterfest celebration also features colorful lights, holiday music, and cozy igloos. Tour a St. Louis icon during the Anheuser-Busch Brewery Lights event. Visitors can tour the historic brewery decked out in its holiday finest and take photos with the world-famous Clydesdales. St. Louis Union Station, families can climb aboard the Polar Express train ride for a trip to the North Pole. Santa hops on the train to present every child with the first magical gift of Christmas. Just outside of St. Louis, St. Charles has the most charming historic Main Street you'll ever see. When the holidays come around, they amp up the charm even more when the Christmas Traditions Festival begins. You might even meet my friend, Jack Frost.
Season's freezings and welcome to historic St. Charles, Missouri. It is I, the one and only Jack Frost, here to encourage you to experience historic Main Street and take in the wonders of the St. Charles Christmas Traditions Festival. You can experience the holiday traditions from around the world as you hobnob with international Santas and a variety of global gift bringers. While here, you'll discover the magic, discover the wonder, and discover why St. Charles Christmas Traditions is the place where Christmas past comes to life.
On the western side of the state, one of the longest-running holiday traditions in Kansas City is the Plaza Lights at Country Club Plaza. For more than 90 years, every dome, tower, and window in the 15-block, Spanish-inspired shopping district is lit with thousands of multicolored lights. It truly is a sight to see. For more holiday fun, head to the Crown Center Ice Terrace, where you can glide across the ice under a billowy white canopy. The mayor's Christmas tree, one of the tallest in the U.S., towers more than 100 feet over the skating rink. And don't miss the holiday decor and Christmas trains at Kansas City's Union Station. The Christmas season in Branson is a showstopper, starting with Silver Dollar City. The theme park's old-time Christmas celebration is a 4-time winner of USA Today's Reader's Choice for the best theme park holiday event. During November and December, the park features more than 6.5 million lights and 1,000 decorated trees, all guaranteed to put you in the holiday spirit. Rides, shows, shops, Santa's cottage, and family-style feasts await all who visit. The park is rich with Yuletide traditions, but they're always coming up with a new way to deliver holiday magic.
Every day that Silver Dollar City operates, we're full of traditions. Folks who have visited us once or folks that have visited us countless times, there are traditions about the city that endear their hearts and make them have fun. Christmas is that very same way, but also we know from research that customers want a little bit of different and a little bit of new every now and then. That's why we had Christmas in Midtown a few years ago. That's why we added our 80-foot tall Christmas tree back a couple of years ago. And this year, we're so incredibly excited to have a very new Silver Dollar City tradition in Red Gold Heritage Hall with this very new Christmas production.
The Shepherd of the Hills, a family entertainment park and farm, celebrates the holidays with a dinner and a show to remember. Arrive early for a North Pole adventure to visit Santa and his reindeer, ride on Rudolph's hayride, and take in the views from atop Inspiration Tower. Then take a seat for a shepherd's Christmas carol and a delicious meal. Surrounded by the beauty of the Ozarks, Big Cedar Lodge is the perfect home away from home for the holidays. If you can't resist hot cocoa by the fire, a cottage or cabin at Big Cedar Lodge might be the perfect getaway for you. Venture outside at this resort for beautiful views of Table Rock Lake, ice skating, and a breathtaking light display. You can also catch the Polar Express at the Scenic Railway. Enjoy hot chocolate and cookies on a ride inspired by the classic holiday story. The Track Family Fun Parks, a great spot for our family fun and adventure seekers, is home to Branson's 150-foot-tall Ferris wheel and helicopter tours, giving visitors the opportunity to view holiday lights from a new and tall perspective. Branson is famous for its live entertainment with more than 100 shows that appeal to all ages and interests, whether it's music or magic. Of course, the shows also offer a great selection of Christmas-themed productions featuring classic and contemporary favorites. And when it comes to holiday magic, my best advice is to come see it all for yourself here in Missouri. Thanks for your time, and we look forward to seeing you here in the Show Me State.
Okay, well, there's certainly a lot of festive cheer there in Missouri, but I wouldn't want to be the one paying that electrical bill because there are certainly a lot of lights. But certainly a place worth visiting for so many reasons. But if you're there around this holiday time, gee, it looks so pretty. And you'll certainly get a bit of that cold, that white Christmas feel there in that sort of north-south, that southern spot. So anyway, everybody, once again, I am going to just leave you my details up on the screen here, if there is anybody who needs to get in contact with me. But for our big finale today, we are going to be back to the Kahoot quiz. So it's our Southern Series finale. 3, 2, 1. Who was our special guest in Southern Cuisine in Mississippi? Was it the Blues Band? Was it Dolly Parton? Was it Robert St. John? Or was it Pitmaster Sarah? All right, a couple of answers to go. And it was Robert St. John. So we've got a few in there. This will make it really tough because it's branched out the whole series. So we've got Ange coming in first for question number 1. And now for question 2, the Great Smoky Mountains, the USA's most visited national park, are in which southern states? Is it A, North Carolina and Tennessee, Kentucky and West Virginia, North Carolina and South Carolina, or Alabama and Tennessee? A few more seconds to go. And it was North Carolina and Tennessee. Got a few in there. Heading on to, GL's coming up there, and coming up now to question number 3. Tennessee traces its music to a tale of which 3 cities? Is it Nashville, Knoxville, and Memphis? Memphis, Nashville, and Chattanooga? Memphis, Jackson, and Nashville? Or Bristol, Memphis, and Nashville? 2 more seconds. And it is a Bristol, home of country music, Memphis, and Nashville. All right, it's going to be interesting, guys, because we're going to have a real little a live wire. So that is GL is coming in first with Matt C not far behind. And question number 4, slow and low barbecue comes in many different styles. In South Carolina, what is their favorite food to throw on the barbecue? Is it pork, beef, chicken, or corn? In South Carolina, what's their favorite food to put on the barbecue? And I was tricky and made sure the photo had everything. And it's pork is king in South Carolina. We've got quite a few who got that right. Oh, GL is still up there. Matt, close on his tail. There's only a question or two in it, everybody. And now for question 5. Which city is the Freedom Rides and Rosa Parks Museum on the Civil Rights Trail? Is it Birmingham, Alabama? Is it Jackson, Mississippi? Is it Montgomery, Alabama, or Memphis, Tennessee? Freedom Ride and the Rosa Parks Museum on the Civil Rights Trail. And it is in Montgomery, Alabama. So we are looking at GL, still up there in number 1. And for question number 6, highways and byways are a great way to explore the South. How many trails and byways are there in Louisiana? Is it 15, 6, 19, or 35? Certainly pretty amazing, all the roads in Louisiana with the cypress trees and the Spanish moss. And it is 19. And Matt C is coming up there. GL is there in second. Lulu is on fire because she's had 3 correct answers in a row. And it's question 7. The South has plenty of adventure and adrenaline activities. What is the New River Gorge National Park in West Virginia famous for? Is it rock climbing, base jumping, whitewater rafting, or all of the above? Yes. Sometimes you just got to throw in one of those. And a lot of people got that one right. So let's have a look. Matt C is still up there. LG is close. We've got Stace, M Summers, and Rachel coming up there. So Southerners love their sports, and the Kentucky Derby is the oldest horse race in the country. Where is it held? Is it in Louisville, Lexington, Richmond, or Mayfield? The Kentucky Derby, and it is in Louisville. I know it's a bit of a trick one because Lexington is known for all of their famous horses. And we are, LG's taking it on. Matt's next. And for our question 9, with so many natural wonders in the South, the Ozark Mountains are in which 2 states? Is it Mississippi and Louisiana, Tennessee and Kentucky, Oklahoma and Kansas, or Arkansas and Missouri? The Ozark Mountains. And yes, we got quite a few right there. It is Arkansas and Missouri. Oh, LG is back there. MM, Lulu, and M Summers is next in line. So for number 10, everybody, Missouri loves the holidays, and the best display is at Garden Glow at the Missouri Botanic Gardens, Silver Dollar City, Winterfest, or all of the above. All right. Gave you a big hint before. Couple of more seconds, but they certainly do love their holidays. And it is actually all of the above because you just can't pick them. So let's have a look. Who is our Southern Series on the podium? Matt C is 3. And we've got Lulu at number 2. And at number 1, we have got GL. So that, guys, is the end of our Southern Series. Once again, I will thank you so very much for coming to all of the episodes, and we really appreciate it. And I'm wishing you all a really, really Merry Christmas, a great New Year. And I don't want to jinx it, but let's cross our fingers for a fabulous 2022 when a pandemic turns to the norm and it no longer impacts on our travel plans and everything else. So once again, thank you so much for coming today, everybody. and we will see you all again. Travel South will be visiting in Australia and hopefully Auckland in June next year. So everybody here will get an invite to come to our events. Hopefully you can all make it and we'll be able to celebrate everything Southern in person with you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.